A lot of you are scared of asking consequence questions like what happens if nothing changes, or you just sound super fucking corny saying it, which is fucking your calls. Because if they don't really sit there and think about what happens if nothing changes and they stay in their same situation, it's gonna be really hard for them to move forward unless you wanna be stuck in follow-up land, if that. But if you ask the question in a very timid way, then they'll see right through it and then you just fucking sound retarded and the call is cooked either way. So that's exactly what we're gonna be talking about today. How to really consequence a motherfucker without sounding retarded and having the confidence to not skip over the question. And I've got not one, but two calls to show you guys today of me asking the consequence question with some slippery motherfuckers and how I was still able to get an answer and ultimately get them to move forward on the first call and change their fucking lives while keeping my frame. So let's dive in. If you're new to the channel and you're wondering who is this handsome young man with dreads and tattoos and what does he even know about sales, my name is Nick. I've been in the high ticket space for close to 3 years. I've collected $3 million in cash, largely because of my deep fundamental understanding of human psychology. I'm not a psychologist, but I know how to be able to take the levers that lead to someone making a decision and shank a motherfucker. And I've been able to help countless others do the same, like Anthony here, who hit his first 10K month at 21 years old while barely cracking 5K months just 3 months before us working together. Or we have Alex here, who became one of the top setter at one of the biggest offers in info. He made more than most of the closers on his team. Or Chris, who was brand new to high ticket sales, 3 to 4 months in, he became the top closer on a new offer and dethroned the guy who was top closer for 14 months. If you want results similar to this, hit the link in the bio. Let's talk and see if it makes sense. I only work with 5 additional new students a month because I'm working very closely with you so that you could be able to achieve results like this. So I can't work with all you motherfuckers. So if you're on an offer, if you want to make more money and you don't want to do it the long way, but rather than the smart way, hit the link, see if it makes sense. Let's dive in. So first of all, the question is like, what even is a consequence stage? Or a hell stage, or cost of an action, or whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. The point of this stage of the call is the exact opposite of future pace. So for this to land, then the future pace has to land as well. We'll talk about that in another video. But the point is to flip the future pace and talk about what happens if nothing changes, if they stay in the exact same place and they continue letting the reason that they haven't solved the problem be the reason that they don't solve it moving forward. And so if you're not new here, you know that I always talk about a sales call is an emotional roller coaster. We're bringing them down, taking them up, bringing them down, taking them up. And so this is on the back end of that future pace where they're on that high. And so now we're bringing them back to a low, and it's right before we pitch and bring them back to a high. One of the keys here is we want to ease into it, right? We don't want to abruptly ask it. We want to slowly bring them down to that point, because if you did the future pace correctly, if you just abruptly do it, then they're going to fight you, and they're probably going to fight you anyway, but you want to be able to put yourself in the best possible position for them if they do fight you to be able to battle it. So there's 3 things that we want to do in this stage of the call. We want to explore what happens if nothing changes. We want to get true commitment to change, again leveraging the ammo that you got in the solution phase. And then you want to challenge and question their way of thinking again, right? Ideally you did it earlier in the call. You want to challenge that again and truly ask them, why are they not willing to settle for that? And something to understand, guys, is if someone tells you, oh, that's not going to happen because I'm going to do it regardless, you know, I'm going to solve this problem. If they truly believe that they are going to solve this problem regardless, then there's going to be no reason to solve it today, because if I'm going to solve it regardless, I'll solve it. I can, you know, hypothetically solve it next week or next month or fucking next year. And so it's imperative that A, you ask the question, and B, you get a real answer. So without further ado, we're going to dive into the first call review here. This one is going to be with a slippery motherfucker who did not want to answer this question at all. And I want you to pay close attention to how I really stayed in that pocket, how I respectfully challenged him and did not move on. Let's dive in. So one thing I'm gonna tell y'all before we dive in here is I'm gonna play this shit at 1.5 so this video is not a million years long, and if that's too fast, just slow it down yourself, right? Like if I don't play it at 1.5, we're gonna be here for a very long time. So let's dive in. Like, what's the alternative if another year goes by, another 2 years go by, this fear, this overthinking continues to rule, and you don't take action and nothing changes? What would piss you off the most about that? Now, something key here is that I used the context that I got from our conversation earlier, right? If this fear and this overthinking continues to rule. So part of the reason that this is going to hit is because I'm talking about his specific shit. I'm not asking a blanket question. Let's keep going.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, I have my timeline, man. So I would say it's not my intention for things to be this way
He's already being slippery. I have my timeline. It's not intentional for things to be this way. Well, guess what, Mr. Prospect? It's been that fucking way. Let's keep going.
moving forward. So I would definitely say, regardless of whether it's this or another medium, I don't plan on working 80 hours this time next year. So for me, it's just gonna be done, and that's it. Whether it's this medium or something else, I don't.
Yeah, and that's what red flag. He's ducking the question. Do not move past that. What I mean, and I'm glad you said that. That's what I mean by the business model doesn't really matter what you do. It's irrelevant, right? Because you're the same business owner throughout all of them, right? And the reality here is for the last year, we've had this goal of starting something. We've thought about it. We haven't executed, which we identified will keep you stuck. So my question is, what happens if another year, another 2 years go by? We're still in think mode, we're still in research mode, and because of this fear, we haven't actually executed. What bothers you the most about that? See, I'm keeping frame, and I'm also, like I said, I'm not pulling shit out of the air. The things that I'm asking about are things that he said earlier. It's been almost 2 years that this guy's had this goal and hasn't done anything. For context, this was a biz op, so he's saying, well, if it's not this business, it's going to be a different business. It's a delusion. We're not going to let that slide.
I mean, that would be unfortunate. But I mean, I can't tell you because I'm not gonna be there.
Okay.
That's only there.
He starts answering, starts to feel it, and he's like, I'm not going to be there. Come on.
I'll tell you something that's not gonna happen. So I mean, for me,
Well, it's respectfully, man. And again, I know I'm challenging you. It's a real possibility of happening because we're here a year later. So I'm not asking you this because I'm questioning your motivation. I'm asking you this because the past tells us a lot about the future. And until we come to terms with it, it'll continue to happen. We're cooking up right here, right? This is shit that you can take to your cause. I'm not saying this because I'm questioning your motivation. I'm saying this because the past tells us a lot about the future. The reality is you've had this goal and haven't done shit about it for over a year. Like, we're cooking up right now. I hope I'm not losing you. Let's keep going. So if we do look forward a year from now, we don't actually face the reality, which is the fear of failure, and we're still in the same place because things aren't just going to change unless you do. Like, what about that bothers you, unless it doesn't bother you?
I mean, yeah, man. I would say that I would be very. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that's gonna happen only because of the things that. Let me tell you what's happening right here, right? He starts to think about it. He starts to think about what happens if I continue letting this shit be the reason that I'm stuck. And because of how much pain he is thinking about it, he doesn't answer it. This is the third time he started to think about it, and then he stopped and said that that's not going to happen. Now, most of you would have probably moved on, but now you're smarter than that. Now you're going to know to stay in that pocket. Let's keep going. Trying to set motion. So I would say that, like, me being in the same place next year, whether it's physically or time-wise, I don't think is unlikely. Only because of some of the fiscal decisions I made in the past year. So, like, that's the only thing where, okay, like, this is, you know what I mean? So, like, for me, you see these eyes right here? These are the eyes of a fucking laser focused killer. Because I'm like, oh, he's still being slippery. I'm on his ass now. Let's keep going. Like, so let me ask you this, right? Because again, the past always tells about the future unless we come to terms with it. So 1 year ago, you had this goal of financial freedom. You had this goal of starting a business. I'm not saying this to attack you, by the way. I'm about to cook him, so you got to preface by saying stuff like that when you're about to cook a motherfucker, right? Respectfully, or I'm not saying this to attack you, and then you just go for the throat. You had this goal. In regards to that goal, you said you've executed on other things like having another job, making more money. But in terms of the goal of starting a business, we haven't done anything, and it's been a year. And so we can't just say that's not going to be the reality until we can look at the fact that it has been the reality. And so if we don't overcome the real thing is overthinking. The real thing is lack of execution. If we don't actually come to terms with it and overcome it, and we look up another year, what you looking in the mirror and looking at that man who is still missing his kids' games, who is still working 80 hours a week, who has not started a business, and it's because you never overcame this fear. Like, what comes up inside when you look at the mirror and that's the reflection you're looking at a year from now? So this is what, my fourth time, I think it's my fourth time asking him that, and I give him more and more context every time. Do you see why it's so important to have a good discovery, more importantly, a good problem stage? Because this would have just been shit I'm pulling out the air, but this is really about his situation. This is why you get deep as fuck during the problem phase. This is why you take really good notes, so when they try to get slippery, you remind them of what life actually is, not the fucking fairy tale life that they live. Let's keep going. Yeah, like I said, for me, I don't see that.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
As far as my as far as my investment piece, like this time next year, there's gonna be certain things set in motion that are gonna be different. So I hear that, like, and this is part of that process.
4 times he has not answered the question. I have way too much endurance though. My energy's through the roof, even though you could tell it's obviously pretty late. I'm not letting that shit slide, and neither should y'all. That is number 4. Something important though is that aggression is a dial, right? You slowly start to turn it up. You don't just go from not aggressive to aggressive. You don't go from 0 to 100. You go from 0 to 20 to 30 to 50 to exact, etc. until you get to 100. And so this is the 4th time I've asked him. I've been super patient with him. Now we're gonna have to do a little more slapping. Let's see where it goes.
I guess let me be more direct. If I were to be in the same position, I'd be disappointed.
What would you be disappointed about?
Being in the same position.
Okay. And are you willing to settle for that though?
So we're making moves.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
no,
I love it, and I'm only asking you this, man, because I care, right? Because like I've seen you a million times. Fuck, I was you, right? These are conversations I had to have with myself, and so when you say you're not willing to settle for it,
when you can see someone's clearly avoiding a tough feeling or a hard feeling, you just gotta relate to them. Like, I've seen you a million times. I've been you, so it's normal. You gotta normalize it so he doesn't feel crazy, right?
I guess why not? And the reason I say why not is because we have settled for it. We have known we want better, but we have not executed on better. What's actually different this time around that you were not willing to let that be?
So remember, we're exploring the 3 steps. Explore what happens if the problem isn't solved, true commitment to change, and ask them if they're willing to settle for that and why not. So that's where we are right now, is are you willing to settle for that?
The reality. Because it starts with the decisions you make every day, not the decisions you make every year. So like, why not settle for that?
I mean, like there's things in place, man. So for me, it's just I've done a lot of work. I'm just gonna execute, and that's all, man. There's no other factors to it. It's just lay the groundwork and execute the plan and move forward and see where things go. But like lay the groundwork, execute the plan, and then assess the results as they arise and try to make the changes and adapt. So.
This is like a Tony Robbins ass answer right here. Like, we were starting to get somewhere and then we lost the momentum. So let's see how we get it back.
Me, like I said, I've done a lot of the physical work. It's just, like I said, this is a medium in peace, and I do think that attacking the mindset is key. So I don't think I'm gonna be here next year because I think I've done a lot of groundwork. I just need to execute the plan.
Yeah.
I've done groundwork, but I need to execute the plan. Like, if you think about it, the shit really doesn't make sense for real, right? And for context about this guy, he works 2 jobs, 80 hours a week, 60 to 80 hours a week, and for 2 years he's been telling himself that he's going to start something to at least be able to replace one of the jobs, and then eventually 2, and he's done absolutely nothing. And so this Tony Robbins bullshit he's giving me, it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't matter.
Let me put it this way, and again, I'm saying this because I care, man. Like, if an overweight person, let's say they're 300 pounds, and they're looking at it and saying, well, I could be 350, I could be 400, and they look at the fact that over the last year they haven't gained weight, right? But they haven't worked out and they haven't eaten healthy. Is it fair to say that that person has not done enough to get into their goal?
These are more analogies you could take to your calls, right? Like, you have to obviously be able to deliver it so it lands, and you need context so it lands. But this is a fire analogy right here. He's ultimately rationalizing, which is like what fat people do. Well, I'm 300, but I could be 350, and the last year I haven't gained any weight. Good job, fatty. You're still fat. That's what we need to talk about. Let's keep going.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah. So
when we look at this, right, and because I have to be honest with you, when we look at your situation now, seeing the goals that we had, is it fair to say that we have not done enough to getting to that goal for as far as like starting a business and having time back?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay, are you saying that
because it fits the conversation or because you mean it?
Like, it's still shakiness, right? It's still shakiness. So I need even more commitment to the answer.
I'm saying specifically with starting a business, that is fair.
Okay. And so those specific limitations, do you feel like you were ready to move past them?
Yes, I do.
Good. Because I know for a fact we can help you, right? And that's why I'm challenging you here so hard, because this is what we have to overcome first. I know for a fact we can.
So could I have stayed in the pocket with this guy for another 10 minutes? Maybe, right? In my mind, I was like, okay, there's potentially going to be some kind of an objection here. I mean, I always think that. But I got him as far as I could. I got as much commitment as I can to be able to loop it back to the objection. And by the way, he didn't even give a fucking objection. It was just, he just needed a payment plan, right? This, again, is why you have to stay in the pocket. You have to help these people. These people need you. And so you can see it's not always a straight line. He's fucking didn't answer my question 4 times. You see what I'm saying? You gotta use analogies. You gotta use fucking ask the question in different ways. You gotta use context. Context is the most important part. Let's dive into another call. Okay, I got the call. So, same exact thing here, right? What happens if nothing changes? Commitment to change, and then asking if they're willing to settle for the same. That's exactly what we're gonna do here. Now you're gonna watch in a second call with a totally different offer, totally different avatar. This is coaching for doctors. Let's dive in.
2 sides to every coin, right? Like, one side of that coin, we do push past the limitations, right? The mental barriers we talked about. 6-7 months from now, we're having a totally different conversation. Like, things can change quick if you change. So 6-7 months from now, that's the conversation we're having. You are able to have more of this bandwidth personally, to take on more hobbies, travel more if you want, get more serious in the relationship. But it's because temporarily you got uncomfortable and actually got the guidance to do so and overcame the pride, right? But the other side is maybe that side that I was talking about that wants to keep you where you are, it wins. And we continue doing what we've been doing. We don't make the changes. We don't get the help. 6 months go by, nothing changes. Still frustrated about the same thing. What would bother you about that still being your situation?
In hindsight, I think I yapped a little too long there. I probably could have gotten to the point quicker, right? But you can see I'm easing him down. I'm telling him this is what happens if you change. This is what happens if you don't. What bothers you if nothing changes?
Repeat the lessons.
Yeah, like what would bother you if 6 months went by and that's still your situation? Nothing changing, ultimately because you didn't change.
And yeah, I cook my own calls, right? This is clear that question was too long because he said repeat the question, so you didn't even fully understand it. So if you're watching this right now, don't yap in the way that I did there. Just straight up ask him, have you thought about what happens if nothing changes and we continue being in the same place? Just ask the fucking question, right?
Yeah, like what would bother you if 6 months went by and that's still your situation? Nothing changing, ultimately because you didn't change.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel, I'm not evolving, and I'd be sad about that. I mean, these are inner conversations I've had in my head. This isn't probably good to keep doing this. I mean, I think I just sort of compartmentalize it as work hard, party hard. When I do have time off, I travel a few times, and then continue growing when I come back. So
traveling like as a band-aid kind of, right? And like, are you, again, it's coming from a good place, man. I hope you're taking it this way. Are you willing to continue settling for that?
You have, dog. You have settled for that. And when I challenge people, like I said in the last one, I like to give it a little bit of a buffer before I do, right? Just so they can put their guard down a little bit because I'm about to cook them.
Continue settling for that.
Yeah. I mean, the money's pretty good.
This is crazy. He's genuinely sitting there and thinking, am I willing to settle for that? And he's like, well, the money's pretty good. Mr. Prospect, what are we talking about? Let's keep going. And also, context here, this call's from January. I got an update from the offer owner a couple months ago that the dude is actually crushing it in the program now. This is why it's so important to have these conversations with these people. This dude was cooked and he even tried to get a refund after. And now he is closer to the life that he wanted to live because I didn't let him give up and the coaches didn't let him give up. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, I just figured it was like, I'm young, I'm in my prime, I need to work hard. Most doctors in my situation are probably doing the same.
Yes. Can I give you my 2 cents? Is that okay?
If I say something like that, just know I'm about to cook you.
Yeah, please.
You're 41, brother.
Right.
You're not still young.
Oh, I feel like I'm young.
He just said some delusional shit here and he said, oh, well, I'm still young. Big bro is 41 years old, thinking that he can continue wasting time. He can continue bullshitting the way he has because he's young. Like, Unc, you're not young, right?
You're not still young. You're 41.
Mm-hmm.
Look at my body language here. I'm not laughing with him. When you say hard shit like that, they will laugh to alleviate the tension. There is not shit funny, so I'm not fucking laughing with him. Let's keep going.
And the goals you have of moving into starting a family are getting closer and closer.
Right.
So are you willing to continue settling for optimize?
See, you can't see his body language because I'm blocking him, but now he's still, for one, and two, you can hear in his tone that he's taking it more serious. When people laugh during tough conversations, don't fucking laugh with them. Let's keep going.
Optimizing for work, knowing that you want a family, knowing that you want more out of life, are you willing to continue settling for putting yourself last for a paycheck?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean,
Damn right, that's a good question.
I should not be living to work. I should be working to live. So,
Mind you, this is the same dude who just a few minutes ago said, am I willing to settle for it? Now he's starting to fall into the frame and know that he deserves better. And like I just said, he's getting better too. Let's keep going.
But that doesn't answer my question of if you're willing to keep settling for it though.
You didn't answer my question though, dog. Come on.
I'm ready to make the change. I'm willing to take a pay cut.
You don't have to take a pay cut. You just have to be more efficient.
Right. Yeah. That's
You get the guidance to do so, but you have to be ready to change though.
yeah. That's
And
why.
so are you willing to change, or are you willing to continue settling for the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why I didn't shut you guys out. I would have been like, no, I can do this on my own. So I'm gonna give you guys a chance.
Yeah. And like we're right now, it's almost like going to the kitchen, right? And you, let's say you're fucking hungry, and then you go to the kitchen. You could go to the kitchen, open up the fridge doors, look around.
He said something along the lines of, that's why I'm here. That's cope. Right, and so I'm gonna give this kitchen analogy. Another analogy you can fucking take to your calls, guys. Don't just watch this video and feel good. Take this shit to your calls.
Doors, look around, and not make yourself food and get out.
Mhm.
So being on the call is a good first step, but at the end of the day, we're just in the kitchen right now. And so like what actually changed or what shifted internally to where you're not willing to continue settling for that and you are ready to make a different move? Is it just new year, new me, some hyped up motivation that's here today and gone tomorrow? What actually shifted internally that you're not willing to continue settling for that?
Just constant stress, pressure, and reading the testimonials on the gallery. I was like, all right, let's give it a shot.
Oh yeah. And I'm proud of you for taking that step. And so if things actually feel good, if it feels like there's
So we found out what happens if nothing changes. I asked him if he's willing to settle for it, and he said no, and I said, why not? Because you have settled for it. Now we're about to get commitment to actually take that step.
like there's alignment, you're ready to actually step out of the comfortability and take that step if things feel good?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, totally feels like what we're doing here would work for you.
Boom.
Now we're bringing them back to the top of that of the roller coaster, right? Guys, I cannot stress this enough. This shit is important, right? Because I'll be real, he did get me an objection, and maybe I'll make another video about that. But guess what I was able to leverage in the objection handling? This shit right here. And he wasn't able to slip away the way he was trying to slip away. And it was like a 8K piff. Like, stop letting people wiggle by. The main thing that we're talking about here is stop letting them wiggle by. Have to get the consequence. They have to know what happens if nothing changes, because they've been settling for the exact same. If you got any kind of value from this, make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you're new here. If not, I'll see you in the next one. I'll say it one more time. If you want to get the results like the gentleman I talked about earlier, like Anthony hitting 10K a month at 21, or Alex being the top setter and one of the biggest offers in info, I can keep going. If you want to get results like that, hit the link below. You're going to talk directly with me. We're going to see if the shit makes sense. I only work with 5 new people every month, so I don't want any weasels. So if you're a weasel, I'm probably not going to work with you. But if so, looking forward to it. Again, if you're new here, like, comment, subscribe. If not, I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Peace.